November 7th, 2006, around 4:15 p.m. at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. A United Airlines ramp worker looks into the sky above gate C-17, and instead of just the usual arrivals and departures, there is now a metallic saucer-shaped craft hovering between 1,000 and 1,900 feet above the busy airport. He notifies the crew of Flight 446, which was waiting to depart on the runway. Pilots, airline management, and mechanics all witness the craft. Air traffic control doesn't pick up anything on radar. The craft hovers silently for several minutes before shooting straight up and cutting a disc-shaped hole in the clouds above.
Welcome to the No Such Thing as Ghosts podcast. My name is Greg. You just heard Andy in the intro talking about a UAP incident at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. If this is your first time listening, I'm a hardline skeptic. Andy, how would you best describe yourself?
I am a believer.
He is a believer. And this is also part 2 of Aliens 101. It was such a chock full. It was so chock full of information that we had to...
So much information.
So much alien information.
We were disclosing everything for you.
Oh, everything and anything. So,
and there's more to come. We've got a lot to talk about on this episode, this part of it. Some more stories to go over, including this one. Did you find that one interesting at all?
Kinda. I mean,
so after it happened, the Chicago Tribune were the first ones to pick it up. You know, big newspaper up there, and they questioned the FAA. They kind of dismissed it at first and called it a weather phenomenon, which there is a thing called a hole punch cloud where, you know, basically the same effect that they described where the cloud just kind of falls out in the middle and it looks like a circular shape in it. It's a real atmospheric event. There were multiple witnesses that were coming forward from different airport staff and everything. And so as the Tribune put a little more pressure on the FAA, they continued to look into it, but kind of dismissed it. Basically said, you know, we don't look into that kind of stuff. That's for your local authorities and that kind of thing. So nothing really kind of came of it. You know, nothing satisfactory. The Tribune kind of pushed it a little more, but ended up just kind of having to let it go.
Yeah, a lot of times it just adds fuel to the fire, doesn't it?
Yeah, when you get an answer and it's kind of dismissive.
Right. And it makes people think like, oh, we know what it is, but we're not gonna talk about it, take it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So all right. So but where did we leave off from last episode?
So we got one more list we're gonna get into, which is the alien species that have been encountered. But before we get to that, I want to say one more thing.
Okay.
Some ancient astronaut theorists believe.
Okay. Great. Ancient astronaut theorists.
Oh, so you're not familiar with Ancient Aliens?
No, it's the guy with the crazy hair that says
yeah,
like the pyramids.
So built. that's the line that they give before they feed you a big.
Okay. Yeah, they feed you
a big
theory of nonsense. Yeah.
So thought you were going to have a big reaction to that, but you're not familiar with it, so it's okay.
I'm familiar with it. I just don't.
If I would have grown my hair out and said aliens.
Yeah, and stuck it straight up in the air like some kind of weirdo.
Yeah, then you would have been super stoked. Okay. So there are thoughts that there are ancient texts that describe possible alien visitations from the Sumerians and the Babylonian tablets They document strange sightings, including black meteors and changing shapes in the sky.
Okay.
So there's the Romans. They described round shields flying in the sky, saucer shaped, right?
Right. But not, I mean, they couldn't have gotten that from the
From the
round shape
Babylonians
of their own
or the
shields. Like, part of it is, here's what I'm thinking. You see stuff that is either completely different than what you're used to seeing, or you see something that, like, oh, that makes sense to me. Right? That's something, that shape I can easily describe, right? I can easily describe, oh, that's a triangle of lights. That is a flying saucer. Also, I'm a Roman and I know my shield's around and they're made of metal. What's that big thing flying in the air? The same shape of my shield.
So you think they saw a flying saucer and just called it a shield? That's what I was saying.
That's not really what I was getting
That's
at.
what I
but
was
that's
saying.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So, how about 1561, Nuremberg, Germany?
Oh,
Well before the Nazis. It's okay.
don't
It's all right.
don't talk about Nazis.
We're good.
We got in trouble on TikTok about Nazis.
Well, we just can't talk about them on TikTok. We can
Okay.
talk about them on here all we want
true.
to. And we not like we really want to. I was just saying this is before that.
What if I have to make a clip out of this to put it on TikTok and you say Nazi, 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 Nazi?
Well, I didn't. I only said it once.
All right, move on. All right.
So there were sightings in Nuremberg where witnesses described a battle in the sky with spears and crosses and cylinders fighting each other, and then objects falling to the ground.
Okay.
Again, was it something they actually saw, or did they describe meteors, or was it a sky battle?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know what to do with any of that.
And then in 16th to 18th century Japan, there were reports of fireballs and wheels of fire moving erratically and sometimes described as drum-shaped or round objects. Again, keeping with some of the shapes that we see today.
If I'm not going to believe somebody from 2026, I'm not going to believe somebody from the 1500s.
Well, it's just, it's been happening for a long time. The same.
I've never seen it.
Types of shapes.
That's great. Everybody would see a space battle. Everyone would see a space battle. And why are there no longer space battles?
Well, maybe they've made peace.
Okay.
Anyway, so throughout the world, there have been many depictions of strange things in the sky. Possible, maybe that show's right. I don't know.
Probably.
Maybe the History Channel is spitting facts.
I seriously doubt that.
Well, that's your opinion.
I've never seen a more incorrect name for
at one point
network.
They strictly told history.
It used to be history, and now it's all sensational nonsense. Like, that is what makes them the money. That's my problem with talking about sensationalizing everything in order to make money from it, because it has to be some form of entertainment. It's not lost on me that our show is also a form of entertainment, but
it's very entertaining.
Shut up. The only way to get eyeballs on your stuff and to sell it so that you can get sponsorships and whatever is that you have to say the most off-the-wall crazy stuff and just make stuff up. Man, the History Channel has nailed it. I can't wait till we sell out, or I sell out. Maybe not we, maybe just me. Sells out so I can just get eyeballs on whatever I'm doing. It's going to be great. All the money that I'm going to make.
That whole thing sounded exactly like what you do every episode.
No, I don't sell out anything. That's why I'm constantly...
But you make over-the-top statements and...
about it not being true. I'm not going to sit here and sell it to people because I want it to be true. I want it to be real. And then I'm going to give you this stuff. I'm going to lie to you. I'm going to force feed you something that works within my narrative just so I can make money from you. Go to no such thing as ghost.show and buy a t-shirt.
Do that.
Do that, really. But not because I'm going to lie to you. Not because I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. Go ahead. I'm done with my rant.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think
we're good.
I'll find another one later.
All right. So earlier we discussed the recent disclosures and, that maybe the government wants to give us information. Maybe they don't. But it's been brought to my attention that as of 2022, there have been 11 scientists and researchers all associated with nuclear research, with UAPs, and they've all gone missing or died.
Okay.
with some mysterious circumstances.
So since 2022, right?
Yes. So just
Okay.
in the past few years here, this list has been compiled now.
Well, I want to bring up two things with that.
Yeah.
Since 2022 till now, that's a long time.
It is.
And for scientists, or high-ranking military officials or whatever, that is a long period of time for people to pass away.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
In usual circumstances, yes.
And this is also very recent stuff here we're talking about. We don't want to get too
right. We're not gonna make too off the wall.
Yeah, we don't want to
anything
drag
like that.
people's families into the unfortunate passings of their loved ones, and it's to me, and I think also to Andy. It's I get it. These fringe communities get a hold of it. They connect dots where there's no dots to connect, right? Because things happen all the time, every day, to all kinds of people, right? Since 2022 till now, how many people in a different field not related to these things have died or have gone missing? Like, that is a coincidence, right? A coincidence versus causality. It doesn't necessarily mean there is some kind of mass conspiracy, but we also want to be careful because we don't want to turn this into a conspiracy podcast, number one.
Correct.
And we don't want to turn this, even though we talk about conspiracies a lot, it's hard to navigate.
I mean, it touches some of these things that we talk about, but
you also don't want to seem like you're profiteering off of the passing of people or the traumatic events that their families have gone through.
Right.
You know what I mean? It seems super dirty in that way. And that's, I don't like talking about them. And I know that Andy is like, for completion's sake, we have to kind of go over some of this stuff because they are things that have been put out there.
Yes.
But they're not, I will say, right, I know Andy's more open-minded with things. You know how I am. I will say, I don't even want to listen to these people. But unfortunately, it is wrapped up inside of this bubble of all of extraterrestrials and whatnot that we're talking about. So while we do have to touch on it, we don't have to. We don't want to make it that we are profiting in some sort of nasty way from.
No, we're going to tell the stories, and I'll give you some of the facts around some of the disappearances, but we're not going to some of the families have spoken out and said they don't believe that any of them are connected.
Right.
And then, it's outside people that are connecting dots that
it's an online communities getting a hold of it.
You definitely there is coincidences. There are possible connections.
You have to think, I've said it a few times in the course of this podcast. Some things are just random and get over it. Not everything has to be connected with something.
If you take it in its own bubble and you only include the fact that there was possible disclosure and these people might have had something to do with it and then they disappeared, then if you could seal it off from just everyday, deaths and disappearances, then
right. And that's a bigger
connect.
Conversation about all these things because they are labeled as conspiracy theories, and we've talked about it before. I've said the exact same thing before. The human brain is always looking for patterns, right?
Right.
We can't understand that some things are just coincidence, so we take stuff and we connect the dots, thinking that we are onto something. And then there's also this weird thing that happens, I think, too, with people is I'm seeing what other people aren't seeing. I'm the one that's putting it together.
I'm going to be the one happens, that solves the mystery.
Yeah, don't even worry about that. But that is a weird kind of disclaimer. We didn't want to get too nasty about it. But you go ahead and present it. Tell what we know.
We won't. Yeah,
those fringe communities are kind of attaching it to, and then I'll crap on it later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the basics of it. They're all saying that it's unusual that these specific people that may or may not have had some knowledge that was going to come out, it's weird to them that these are the people that disappeared and died under maybe unusual circumstances. Some we don't know they could still be alive. Some of them, the first one we're going to talk about is Major General William Neal McCaslin. He's retired on February 27th of 2026. He disappeared from New Mexico. He's a former Air Force Research Lab commander, and his name appeared in the WikiLeaks emails regarding UAP research.
Mm-hmm.
So he's definitely connected to this area in some way. Supposedly he just up and vanished, left his gun at home, left most of his belongings at home, and it's one of those situations where people think he just didn't want to be found. He just made himself disappear. So he was definitely connected to the research of UAPs and could have had knowledge. Whether he's connected to the other missing people, we don't know. Then Melissa Cassius, a Los Alamos National Laboratory administrative employee who vanished on June 26, 2025, also in New Mexico. And she left behind her phones that were all factory reset. I'm assuming she had a work phone, a personal phone, all that was left behind. So another, possible researcher in this area that maybe didn't want to be found, or if you're digging deep into it, maybe somebody wanted it to make it look like she didn't want to be found. Who knows? And you're going to see the same thing on a lot of these. There's 11 of them over the past couple of years. Whether it's connected, whether it's not, we haven't gotten much information after the original videos and stuff that came out. So
here's the biggest thing. Okay. I'm going to get slightly political, but not overly political. This whole disclosure thing was a distraction. It wasn't meant to actually give you any kind of actual information. The information that was released was heavily redacted basically to the point that it was useless.
Correct.
I just know these things because of the news. Now, I didn't look that deeply into it, but all those actions, if it is truly something that is covered up, or if it's not, it almost validates people that believe there is some kind of conspiracy. And because they're not giving you any information. They're saying they're going to give you information, right? There's dots being connected to the disappearances of people that may or may not be related, that directly related to these projects, and also the circumstances in which they disappeared. Some of that could be called into question, right? Because some of those things, there's the factual nature of it, and there's the things that are put together by internet sleuths.
Yeah, and we don't know who's coming up with all of these connections. We don't know.
But I think the more important thing to understand here is sometimes you're being lied to about something else. Sometimes you're being distracted from what's really going on by giving you something else to focus on. That in itself is a conspiracy.
It is.
That's multiple people. Show. Exactly. For something that's not related to this. But that's what I want to exercise caution with people is going, just because you're being given what maybe, and this is a conspiracy theory on my part, you're being given just enough to keep you focused on that.
And
focused on the
stretched out enough.
Yeah,
it's like
stretched 2020,
out over time. 2022, 2026.
And that gives, as you're distracted about this, and as you're distracted about this, it keeps you not focused on the things that probably really matter. And again, I'm not going to get too deep into anything political. I'm just trying to say don't be fooled by nonsense.
This is not the island you're looking for.
Exactly. Yeah, this is not. Maybe that's what's going on. Here's a way to distract people from this, and they will jump all over it. People are not going to like to hear that. People have different political opinions. People have different opinions about what Andy just said about some island stuff. Cool. But also kind of don't be a sucker and fall for everything that's in front of you. Like, just don't do it. Because the same way as you think that maybe I'm a sucker for going, that's not real. That's not real. That's not real. Somebody's lying. And I buy the not real stuff. You might also be a sucker because you jumped on this other stuff and you got completely distracted from what actually mattered.
Right. And that's not to say that some of it's not factual and some of it's not.
I'm not even
made
gonna
up,
I'm not
like-
gonna even qualify that. But you also have to be careful. If you think you're enlightened, you think you're smart, and you think you're onto
Right.
something other people aren't onto, then you need to pay a little bit more attention because you are easily distracted by other stuff. You've been fed things for a particular reason, and you took it, and you hook, line, and sinker, baby. You went right for it.
And finally, we're going to go down the list of possible aliens, possible beings, possible whatever they are that
Okay.
you might encounter if you had a UFO or UAP experience.
Is this a giant catch-all for all kinds of stuff?
Sort of.
Okay.
I've got several categories that we're going to go down, and some of them, well, all of these have been described by somebody.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that makes sense.
So, I'm not making these up.
No, somebody said something. It's kind of like somebody seen something.
Somebody saw
Somebody saw something.
whether it was a human or an alien or a time traveler,
Somebody,
or interdimensional.
somebody said it.
And then they told the world, even though they maybe weren't supposed to. I don't know.
We'll find out.
On that note, the first race that we're going to talk about, I put quotes there because this one, some people think that they represent the creatures that are visiting us. Some people think they represent our wonderful government trying to silence you because you've seen something that you weren't supposed to see.
Right back to it.
Yeah, I know. Weird. Keeps coming up. So the first race we'll talk about is the Men in Black.
Oh, yeah.
We've heard of them. We've talked about them a little bit.
Yeah, we talked about them a little bit in Kecksburg, right? Is that not supposed to be kind of like who was supposed to be showing up there?
Correct. Unnamed military personnel.
In trench coats and
right.
whatnot. Yeah.
So usually,
also the movie.
Yeah.
Real? Can I say, that's the first time that I didn't know what Men in Black were.
Until
I didn't even know that it was an actual conspiracy theory. I just thought it was a comic book and then a movie.
And then a movie. Oh, okay.
I had no idea that Men in Black were some kind of conspiracy theory government thing. Because again, I'm not into this stuff.
Right.
This is Andy telling me stuff.
A lot of it for the first time.
Yeah. Some stuff I have a passing understanding of, or I've came across it in other kinds of entertainment, as in the Men in Black. But I had no idea it was a real thing. I thought it was just made up for that.
That movie came out in 1997. The first time the Men in Black were ever mentioned in one of these situations that we know of anyway was in 1947.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. So the Maury Island incident, Harold Dahl claimed that a man in a dark suit threatened him after he reported UFO debris falling. So that's the first instance. So then in the 1950s, Albert K. Bender solidified them into the zeitgeist by, he wrote about them in a couple of books. But most importantly was Gray Barker in his 1966 book, They Knew Too Much About Flying Saucers, where he referred to them as silencers. But they all get the same description. They're all similarly looking men dressed in all black, usually wearing sunglasses, usually pulling up to someone's home in an all black car. No markings, anything like that.
The sunglasses thing, was that part of the earlier one as well? Or was that more of the 60s explanation of the Men in Black?
I believe there's not
a description.
There's not really a whole lot of detail in the first one. He just says a man dressed in all black.
Gotcha. Okay.
We'll probably get into that at some point, but it really became prevalent the more you move on, the more descriptions you get of it, the more detail. Sometimes their clothes are a little bit ill-fitting. Sometimes their facial features don't quite look right.
Okay.
So that's where they get the, idea that maybe they're not human. Maybe they're representatives of whoever was, spotted in the ship, and they're trying to cover it up from their end.
So we're not even necessarily saying they are a government. I'm putting so many things together too about the movie. It's all making sense to me.
Well, that's one. The movie is kind of one of the theories that it's a government agency that's sending people.
But also they're like aliens on the payroll.
Possibly. If you combine the two, it could be that.
Because they're saying it sounds like some people are going, that's an alien in a man suit. Like an alien in like not the other guy.
It's kind of a combination of the movie because it was humans that were working for the Men in Black,
but it was also aliens working for them.
There were some aliens,
yeah,
and
so it sounds like it was like, oh, you put an alien that somewhat disguises themselves as a human.
I believe they said Michael Jackson was an alien in the movie. He was just ill disguised.
Yeah, but there's also people that work for the Men in Black that are not exclusively
No, I'm
human.
just expanding on.
Yeah, but like I just thought that was like, oh, that's a funny premise. I didn't know that it was like some people think the Men in Black were also just aliens, like they were the ones that
movie was about some things that happened. Apparently.
Okay, cool, great. I don't want to hear that. Move on. I don't want to get into that.
All right, so
I don't want to get too mad about that nonsense that you're trying. The documentary Men in Black, starring Will Smith, an actual alien.
Yeah, and Tony Shalhoub. Don't forget Tony Shalhoub.
Can't forget about Tony Shalhoub.
Anyway, moving on to other races. People describe robotic alien races.
Techno-organic.
Sure. Robotic is a wide
it could be anything.
description.
Yeah.
One example is Falkville, Alabama in 1973. They described a 7-foot tall creature dressed in a shiny tinfoil suit, and it was moving mechanically.
A tinfoil suit?
I mean,
like crushed up tinfoil?
It was probably wadded up.
And wadded up and just like, let's stick them together.
Yeah. I don't know why they said tinfoil.
There's a weird thing where it seems like a lot of times media depiction influences the sightings, not the other way around. Because there is a lot of media that comes because of sightings, like the Roswell incident, like all that stuff that happened like in the 50s and everything else. There was all kinds of media that was spawned from that.
Right.
There was all kinds of like invasions and all that stuff. Right. But it also seems like as that media kind of continued on its own through like pulp comic books, sci-fi comic books, sci-fi movies, books, just in general, like written fiction, that a lot of times you get to certain time periods and it's like, well, now it's a robot. And because all the media, all of like the fictional media has gone, oh, and they kept expanding on it. And then all of a sudden you start to see sightings like that.
Well, and it kind of
works both ways.
We've kind of talked about this theory. I'll go ahead and drop it in there since you kind of brought it up again. Like, people are seeing what they know. And one of the theories as to why, there's flaps of certain sightings, there's, common sightings amongst a bunch of people, everybody has an idea, whether it's from movies or whether it's from...
Yeah, Lost in Space shows up on TV and all of a sudden they're seeing robot men.
Right. And the theory is that these beings have a technology or a mind control that, kind of gives you, a vision of not what's actually there. They're kind of covering themselves up. So the thought is that, your mind is playing a role in that. So if you think an alien looks like a robot, you're going to see a robot man. If you think...
I dislike that so much. That goes back to the other stuff we talked about. Why is there always this extra level like complication?
Well, I mean, that would
explain a lot of stuff because somebody goes,
or that they can tell you this is what you're seeing.
It's just an excuse,
or that they can
validate,
tell you that you didn't see anything, and back to the hypnosis. Their mind was wiped, so they didn't know that they had seen.
There's always an out for every one of these things. It's always like, whoa, but you didn't see. I didn't. Didn't see what you were supposed to see. Or that's not what you were actually seeing. There's always this weird way to explain yourself out of somebody discounting you.
Or maybe it's just what happened. And
how convenient there's always this out for me. I can always go, oh yeah, but You didn't see it because you don't believe in it like I believe in it. So I saw it because I truly was a believer. It reminds me of like the martial arts, like fake, like snake oil salesman martial arts, where it's like, I can give you a death touch. And that one guy, I remember he got the crap beat out of him by like an MMA guy or something. 'Cause there's an MMA guy that travels across like China and whatever and like debunks traditional martial arts. And then there's like all these like no touch artists and stuff like that. And he beats the ever loving crap out of them. And they always have some kind of excuse. Oh, he didn't believe in the power of G, or his toe was up when I delivered the death blow, and that counteracted the death blow. Like there's always this way for shysters and bad actors.
Maybe they just weren't as good at the death blow as they thought they were.
No, they are black belts that they bought and put on and act like they were a black belt of some kind of made up secret martial arts that you find in the back of a comic book. I've said comic book a lot today. But like there's always this way to explain away why something is not what you said it was. There's always this angle out, right? We talk about
that comes from both sides though. There's always an explanation as to why they didn't see that.
We're going to get into the same thing that we say all the time. There's a complete difference between operating reality and if you go, this is my day to day. This is what I see every day. Here's something unexplained that happened. Cool. I'm not arguing that events that are hard to explain don't happen. I believe there are things that do happen that people can't explain. It doesn't mean that other people can't explain it. It doesn't mean there's not a reasonable explanation.
But just because you come up with a reasonable explanation doesn't mean that that's true.
Do you trust everyone?
I don't trust everyone.
To walk into a situation and have the capacity or the understanding to explain whatever this. Do you trust some guy to come off the street and go, we got to do brain surgery, bud, and to give you brain surgery? No, you expect an expert to give you brain surgery. Because a layman doesn't know what's going on.
I would prefer not to get brain surgery at all.
Ideally, that's the way that would go. But if you put somebody in a situation of things they don't have knowledge of, right, and then have them explain it, do you expect them to be able to explain it?
There's been so many alien abductions that I'm sure that they know what they're doing. So I trust them.
What,
with
the
their
same?
probing.
I'm talking about I'm not talking about the aliens. I'm talking about the individuals.
Oh, you're talking about the people. Oh, okay.
The people. I don't expect to have every person be put in a situation of something they do not understand and they have no concepts of to be able to explain exactly what it is and be able to understand what it is.
And
they don't.
So
that's
it might
why you
not
bring
be
in
robotic.
People that are no,
it could just be a
don't
suit.
do it. But what I'm trying to, I've lost the plot at some point here. But it just, I don't know where I'm at. Go ahead.
So one more example that we're going to touch on at some point, a very popular robotic example. Could be robotic. This one kind of bounces between a couple categories. Could be
techno-organic.
It could be many things. Is the Flatwoods Monster. That's in West Virginia. Trust me, we're going to get to that and you're going to love it.
It's a monster. It's a robot monster?
Well, it's called a monster because people don't understand it.
I don't expect somebody that knows what a techno-organic organism animal is.
It kind of looks like a motherly figure, actually, if you look at it.
I don't know what we're talking about here, and you're not going to explain it to me, are you?
Not right now, because we're going to do the whole thing.
Great, cool. I'm glad I'm not going to have anything to say back.
Everybody else will understand.
I'm glad that I'm the one in the dark, and I'm not going to Google it.
That's what we do. I'm trying to get you learned.
Get me all learned on the subject.
As they say in West Virginia. Don't do
Buddy,
that.
I wouldn't talk too much smack. While we might be from a big city, we're still from Kentucky.
From Kentucky, as they say in Kentucky.
Yeah,
learned.
Yeah, let's not throw the shade, man.
All right, so the next category will be another big hit with you. Reptilians. Herbert Scheimer in 1967. He was a Nebraska police officer. So He knows what he's talking about.
Obviously, yes, because everybody that is in a position of some kind of power is, you believe them.
He claimed he was abducted from his patrol car by beings in uniforms that had a winged serpent emblem on the left of their chest.
What year was this again?
This was 1967.
Cool. He watched some Buck Rogers or something. He watched...
No, he was in
Flash
his patrol
Gordon.
car. He couldn't be watching. They didn't have cell phones in 1967.
No, I'm saying he read a Flash Gordon comic book and decided these aliens, are they sparkly outfits? Does it say sparkly?
No, he described them as having long heads, flat noses, and slit-like mouths.
Great.
They had
Describe more
the
uniforms. The uniforms, were they sparkly?
They were not sparkly.
No, they had an emblem on the chest.
Yes, the emblem was probably a little sparkly.
This is garbage.
Well, what about the Vietnam soldiers that reported tall reptilian humanoid creatures in the jungle that were alien-like in nature? Nothing? You don't agree with that? These people were on alert. They were in the middle of a war.
Here's my problem. There has to be sources. And there are no sources.
I can find you sources that say
right now,
that people...
Give me sources about the Vietnamese that saw reptilians. Find me actual sources.
We'll come back to that.
From a reputable source.
Well, it was just written that these reports were made. So
that's that's nothing.
So I can't give you a first-hand report.
This is staying in.
That's fine.
Because that's the problem with all this stuff is you always go, I asked for a source.
And these are just supposed to be touching on examples. This is not, I didn't go in depth into all these. I'm just giving examples on these.
I hate it so much. Go. Next one.
This episode would be 3 weeks long if I gave you reports on every single thing that I talked about. This is not for you. It's for the people. I mean, this part is for you to get you a little bit caught up on it, but not every detail needs to be given out in this episode.
I get that, but it's still you're making some extraordinary claims here.
It depends on your point of view.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk about insectoids.
Oh, cool! Giant ants, like
ants. No, mantis men.
Cool. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I said ants. How ridiculous. Okay. You're right. Mantis men is a lot more believable.
They're probably upset that you called them ants.
You want to know what? I don't blame them. That's speciesist of me.
Now, these beings are usually reported as working alongside the other races. Like they're just the worker bees, but they're not bees. They're mantis people.
Aren't mantises like pretty smart and also solitary?
Well, they're performing medical experiments. So yes. You are getting good at this.
They're the medical wing.
Yeah.
They're like their specialty is the like dissecting of
well, I mean, taking things out, putting things in,
weighing people's organs, putting them back in, and all of a sudden they're still alive and they're fine and no visible scars.
Yeah. And I mean,
how did I predict that one?
According to the X-Files, they're crossbreeding, so maybe they're doing that
Why
too.
is the X-Files brought up as media is influencing?
I didn't say it was factual. I'm just saying if that's what they're doing, then
okay, great. Tell me more about the mantis people.
Well, I mean that's
it. Yeah, medical experience. Okay,
sometimes they just show up, randomly on the side of the road or at a creek or something too,
just to stare you in the face and kind of look back and forth at you.
And occasionally they like weirdly disappear, but not completely. They have that weird camouflage thing that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like those are the camouflage guys. Apparently, they wave their hands and disappear.
Great. All right, what else?
This is a good one. The Nordic. So these are typically described as being 6 to 7 feet tall with athletic builds, long blonde hair and blue eyes.
What? It's just a dude?
I mean,
just a Viking guy?
Kind of, yeah. Their skin is usually a blue-gray or purple, though.
Oh, okay.
So a little bit different. They usually, when you encounter a Nordic, they're not just, these aren't the probing guys.
Is this just like a big, attractive alien? A purple Chris Hemsworth?
I think so. He's Australian, but
I'm just saying big, muscular
he plays a
blonde
Nordic
guy.
on TV.
Yeah, on TV?
On movies.
Yeah.
On TV sometimes. But like these guys don't come in and they're not doing the experiments. They usually have a message. And it's usually concerning.
Don't do drugs, kids.
No, not that important.
Not the end of a G.I. Joe episode that a Nordic
the
shows
more
up.
you know.
Yeah.
It's usually focused on environmental concerns.
Oh, so it's Captain Planet?
Like the dangers of nuclear war.
Wait a second. Captain Planet had, he had blue skin, didn't he?
Yeah.
So you're telling me that
He
Captain
didn't have
Planet,
long hair though, but he
didn't.
could have cut it
box
because
cut situation.
he stayed here.
So
it was
so
the 90s, man.
Are like they're just all concerned about the environment.
They don't want us blowing each other up. Like
they don't want us like burning fossil fuels.
Yeah, they don't want.
They want us to recycle.
Yeah.
So Captain Planet.
Yes.
Okay.
They want you to do better.
I'll remember that. Nordics, Captain Planet. Got it. Moving on.
We'll talk about Nordics eventually. A lot of people are familiar with Valiant Thor.
What?
His name
Thor
is
again?
His name is Thor.
I nailed that.
However,
I was all over that. I nailed that.
He's not from Asgard. According to the people that knew him, he was Venusian. Which
people that knew him? His friends on Earth?
His Earth friends.
His
Yes.
Earth friends.
Yeah.
He's from Venus.
He had a place to stay. It was the Pentagon. But
okay. Perfect. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Great.
So they first became popular in the 50s. George Adamski was the first to write about them. He claimed to have met a Venusian named Orthon in 1952. And so
my name is Orthon.
This is a different one. And of course, he warned about nuclear war through telepathy. I forgot. They also have telepathy.
Of course.
They don't need to actually speak to you.
They don't need vocal cords.
Yeah. Another case that actually involves multiple species is the Travis Walton case in 1975. You probably heard about him and didn't realize it. They made the movie Fire in the Sky based on his story.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
But okay, so maybe you don't know about him. That's fine. But, that's another one we're going to cover in great detail eventually.
Great. Look forward to it.
Yeah. He was in Arizona with 6 of his fellow loggers and randomly came upon a ship in the woods.
As one does.
So he disappeared for several days and then reappeared.
It's weird.
Additionally, not remembering.
It's weird that somebody would see a big, tall, muscular alien with long blonde hair and disappear for a few days.
He saw more than just that. He saw lots of.
Whoa.
There was a lot going on.
What are you implying? It sounded like he just had a great time. All right.
He did. He had a wonderful, so wonderful, they made a movie about it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I would not go wonderful.
Look at that 7 foot tall drink of water.
I mean,
tall drink of purple stuff.
Purple stuff. And it's got that cool ring talking about save the planet.
Yeah, come on, man. He's a hippie. He's in touch with his sensitive side.
Although he probably still had long hair then. He didn't have the box cut because it was the 70s.
Flipping it around. And all kinds
the
of
old
stuff,
Kentucky waterfall.
Being all seductive and whatnot. Yeah. Okay, cool. I appreciate your choices, man. That's great.
Yeah. So
you don't have to lie about it by making up a story. You could just say,
just found
you met a
dude in the woods.
Found a hot dude in the woods, man, and you went for it.
And left all his logger friends behind.
Yeah, I mean, I know maybe you've been judged in that time period, but we're not going to judge you now, buddy.
It's a different time now.
It's a different time, buddy. Do what you got to do.
Yeah. So the most popular, I think you can go ahead and name that one.
Roswell.
Well, yeah, they were at Roswell.
Okay. Oh,
the most popular race.
Is it the Greys?
The Greys.
The Greys. I do know that.
We've seen them everywhere.
They're always the big eyes, the big heads, slender bodies, right?
Yep. So,
but different. They vary in height.
They're
sometimes
usually
they're
the shorter ones.
Sometimes they're taller and lankier.
They are some that are described as taller.
Yeah.
Usually they're the shorter. They're shorter than a normal human,
like 4 feet tall.
And these are the guys that usually come and do the
probing,
abductions.
Oh yeah. You know, I'm into the probe, not into it, but I like talking about the probing.
Yeah. You're a big fan of what they got going on
Big
in their
fan.
spaceships.
Yeah.
Or time travel ships or whatever they are.
Oh, of course, yes. We can't
interdimensional. We can't discriminate.
We can't rule out all those ridiculous possibilities.
You can't judge just based on one place they could come from. They might be coming from all the places.
All at the same time.
Maybe each race is coming from a different dimension, time, planet.
Yeah, okay.
Sure. Whatever. We don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
These are the facts that I have.
When you're making up the rules,
I'm not making up any rules. I'm saying, describing what has been
I'm
seen.
saying as when people just make up the rules, you can do whatever. Just write a book, guys.
There's books to come.
I meant like actually label them as fiction. Don't try to sell them as nonfiction. Just write a fiction book. Do it.
People do that too.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Go ahead.
So greys are small, thin-bodied creatures with large heads, small mouths, no nose. Usually just a slit for the nose and mouth.
Yeah, and big old peepers.
And large black eyes.
Uh-oh. Black eyes.
But they're large. They're not normal black eyes that they can hide. They're just out there for you to see.
Gotcha.
Like, I mean, they could, disguise their appearance or something, I suppose.
Why couldn't they shapeshift?
Oh.
What do you know?
I don't know. I've never been abducted. These are the ones that take you to have the experiments done. They're usually related with missing time, which I would assume all of them do if you get abducted.
Well, if you look at it, if you're abducted, you're probably going to be put under some kind of anesthesia, right?
Right.
So you're going to lose time. Like they're gonna knock you out.
You wake up, you didn't even know you were asleep.
Can play around with your holes.
Probably wake up in the same spot.
You back, and you have no idea. You've lost track of all time.
An interesting thought that I've heard several times to know if maybe you're being abducted. If you suspect that, a good idea is to put your pajamas or your shorts or whatever you sleep on, put them on inside out, and then if you wake up and they're on the correct way. Because they don't understand.
Wait, why would they not understand? Because they have abducted so many people. They're going to know what the clothes look like.
But they're going to put your clothes back on the correct way because they're just doing their business and they're thinking.
Oh, you're saying they put it back on the correct way.
So if you have it on inside out.
Tag goes on the inside, guys. You've taken off plenty of these guys' pants.
Yeah.
So we know tag goes on the inside.
We can't have somebody figuring out that we were here. We got to put these back on right.
What about a watch? What if you have a watch and then you look at your watch?
Well, sometimes
time stops.
Well, sometimes electrical.
If it's a mechanical watch that's wound, what electrical interference is gonna?
Well, I'm saying sometimes. I didn't say every time.
Okay, cool. But what about the other times?
So if you have a wound watch, then it might still.
What about a cell phone?
But you're still losing time.
Yeah, but
the cell phone might not work at all.
But I mean, I could verify that I'm losing time. Is mostly what I meant.
Well, usually people understand that they lost time because they're it took me on a normal trip.
They're saying that, I lost 3 hours.
Yeah, because a lot of these happen and they're, driving.
I mean, Ronnie Boy only lost 30 minutes but he was just mostly staring at it. So there's some kind of, we don't know if he was abducted or not. Was it 30 minutes? How long?
Yeah, he thought he was only out there for 5 minutes and it was 30 minutes.
The dog on that situation? How much time did the dog lose in dog years?
Oh man, 30 minutes times 7 years. I think he was okay.
I think he was fine.
He lived for a while after that. He was okay.
No, but I meant okay, maybe my line of thinking was completely incorrect there.
Yeah, because usually that's one of the first suspicions.
But ideally, the aliens would want you to be like, you didn't lose anything. Nothing happened.
Well, I mean, if they're taking you out of your room and you're sleeping, then usually you wouldn't notice that. But if they do it and you're on a road trip, that's when people start noticing it because they're like, it should have took me 3 hours to take the trip to grandma's.
It took me 6 hours.
It took 6 or it took 12 hours or
they had me up there for a long time.
Yeah. There's a definite, and I don't remember driving the wrong route or taking a wrong turn or
what are the side effects that people do we want to get into that? Are there any kind of side effects that people believe they have suffered from an abduction?
Well,
by a gray?
I mean, sometimes there's, medical anomalies, from radiation and stuff. There have been reports of that. So
like
maybe
burns or loss of hair,
burns, and even cancers and stuff. I wouldn't relate that. I'm not pointing at that, but people have said that and then discovered that they were abducted. I'm not correlating that, but I'm saying those are also things that are found, or implants. People.
Have they really found implants?
People have gone and had X-rays, and there's a mystery metal thing in their skin.
Have they? That's if you okay.
This is another. You're putting me on the spot, so I can't give you a.
If you say okay, I think that maybe you just need to collect a bunch of stuff and prove it.
Well, that's what we're doing.
I'm not
we're
saying
getting there
right
eventually.
Yeah. I'm not.
I don't want to prove all of it right now. We've only done a handful of episodes, so
you can't go around proving stuff.
We got to get some episodes in.
Don't worry about proving.
Well,
all right.
I will. I will.
We'll see. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So there are things that tip you off. Sometimes it's just the realization that you've lost time. Sometimes it's fatigue. You thought you were asleep for the entire night. You only got an hour of rest because
that can be all kinds of things.
It could.
I woke up. I slept for 8 hours. I'm still very tired.
Well, yeah. Any medication you take can cause lack of sleep or explosive diarrhea.
You might need a CPAP machine.
Yeah.
Come on.
I didn't say that these things proved it. You asked me if there were any side effects.
All right. What's next?
Nightmares are a side effect because they keep seeing mantis men putting metal objects in their skin.
Well, stop doing that LSD before you go to sleep. All right.
Well, that might be a cure. Who knows? So we touched on Roswell, Betty and Barney Hill. 1987, a book was written.
Okay.
Communion by Whitley Strieber.
Okay.
One of the more famous abduction books.
It sounds oddly familiar.
Well, the cover is very familiar. I'll get you a picture of that. But people, when this book came out, started having disturbing reactions because he drew what he saw. And
it awoken something latent in
they
their
started
mind.
recollecting their abduction scenarios. And, it caused all kinds of flashbacks and panic. And, so that's one of the more famous examples. We'll touch on Communion eventually as well. These are all big cases that are going to take a lot more detail than just this description.
All right, cool. I love that you're just building content.
Some tension.
Building content. This will eventually be an episode. We've got so many episodes.
Stay tuned. Come back, everybody.
All right, what else?
It's gonna happen. That's the last race that I'm gonna touch on. We've, talked about where they could come from. I don't know which one you think would be the most plausible.
None of them.
And no interdimensional. No, could it be just the sightings of UFOs and UAPs just be our own experimental airplanes and
that is definitely
drones?
The most likely explanation.
And it doesn't explain the grays of the robots unless
it's just not real.
Government agencies like dressing up as Men in Black, and then they were like, well, what if I put a robot suit on?
Or none of it could be real. None of it could have actually happened.
I have plenty of examples where people said,
"Oh, cool, that's great." People said a lot of stuff. Here's my biggest thing: is when we talk about aliens, and we talked about it a little bit with Kecksburg. I do not have a problem with extraterrestrial life.
And we'll wrap it right there. We're good.
No,
we all know that it's true, and Greg has confirmed it. And no, continue.
The likelihood of life in varying forms throughout the galaxy. I think the likelihood's pretty high there is something. Now, that could be single cell organisms, like it could be bacteria, it could be anything. All those things are life, and which would get me super excited about the subject of life on
and
other planets in another
potential
solar system or whatever.
for other inhabitable planets.
Correct. All that stuff super cool, and I think the likelihood's pretty high. Do I think that we're being visited by extraterrestrials that are coming down to take our cows and do butt stuff with us? No, I just don't think that is a thing. Is there? Could there be kind of humanoid life somewhere else? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's too vast. There's too much, and the odds are. But it's still a coin toss. It's still I think it would be more likely for there to be single cell organisms or something like that.
Well, most of it is probably simpler life.
Yeah, but I mean, again, these are things that we don't know, and that's fine not to know them. But it's also perfectly fine to go, I've never seen a spaceship. I've never seen an alien. Most people that I know that I've ever talked to have not seen a spaceship, not seen an alien. If it is as frequent as all of these sightings and all of these abductions, it seems so prevalent that, man, it should have been proven by now.
There's 7 billion people on the earth now.
Cool. And
what's the percentage that have seen?
Get it. But I mean, why is it that certain people experience it? And why is it always the number one, the least prepared?
Well, I mean,
and also,
if they're doing secretive stuff, they're not going to call you up and go, "Hey, we're going to be there at 9:45. Could you get dressed and ready for us?"
There would be something more than what we have, and that's always my argument with all these things. And I know it gets old, but the same with the ghost stuff. There would be something by now. There would be something definitive at this point, and I think that goes for everything. It goes for cryptids. It goes for ghosts. It goes for aliens. There would be something a little more concrete than what we have. Because it seems like there are a lot of people that have experienced it. And we're dealing with a time where we constantly have cameras and stuff everywhere. Pointed at the sky, pointed at
but not as advanced maybe as theirs. So they're able to avoid them. They're able to shut them off. They're like...
Again, but that's just such... And I have a problem with the magical thinking. It's not... Like, I think that it would be... From like a fiction imagination standpoint, cool, this is all fun, right? Like if I'm just writing some kind of thing and I'm having fun and I'm able to use my imagination to come up with interesting ways that I can make this happen. It's kind of sadder that there are people that are like, let me come up with creative ways that I could prove that it really happened. It's just too much of a... There's too much creativity associated with it.
We've talked about the government's involvement. Did they have a part in keeping it secret? Obviously, they want to tell something.
But at a certain point, it wouldn't be able to be kept a secret if it happened as much as it has. It wouldn't be a secret anymore.
But is it a secret? Everybody knows about... Maybe you don't know somebody personally, but you know about a story of someone.
I know of a story, but that's a story.
But this is someone telling a story that they believe happened, though.
I don't want to get into what I don't want to get into what people believe, because people can make themselves believe things.
The truth could have already been exposed, but we're, inclined and, told, this is not real. This is fringe stuff. So
I also don't know what I don't understand what the benefit is. I don't know what the benefit is of trying to cover this stuff up. I personally don't know what it is. Some people can make an argument and go, because there's advanced technology that they're getting. Where's that advanced technology? Where is that technology that is?
You can look into the developments in the past.
Oh, the microchip.
75 years or so now.
Stop taking away accomplishments from people. It's the same. You talked about the History Channel and the ancient astronauts and ancient aliens. There's no way that that ancient Egyptians could build a pyramid. Yeah, a bunch of people, also forced labor.
Yeah,
all had to find a way to build this. Humans are pretty smart. We find a lot of ways to do stuff, and giving all the credit to some kind of alien because we invented a microchip, giving all the credit to some alien because we built, ancient us built a structure, like a large structure that we can't. Stop giving the credit to aliens.
I'm not saying that is necessarily true, that we've gotten anything from reverse
But then why
engineering or
hide
anything
it?
that.
What
but
panic is it going to bring to people?
I mean, it does like make a little bit of sense if we got some help from somewhere. There was such a big jump.
It wasn't that big of a jump.
I mean, we didn't have vehicles in the 1900s
because
or late
people
1800s.
Figured it out.
And
Give
then
yourself
we're going
some
to
credit.
the moon.
Yeah.
And then
it's a big explosion that gets you to the moon.
Computers in our hands. Like, this is a short time considering how long before that we had next to nothing.
You also have to think of the development of the human species, right? You start off as hunter-gatherers, then you become agregorial, right? And then you settle into one location.
Slow movement in each process.
It wasn't that slow of a movement because you got to think that you went instantly from different kind of building techniques. You went from to aqueducts. The human race has been rapidly expanding their prowess and their technological ability in order to get things done that solve problems, right? That progress us. There's constantly an incline. It's not an all of a sudden snap your fingers thing. It's been going on for a while, and we've been solving problems for a long, long time and constantly progressing technologically. Anybody who says that is only operating within their finite lifespan, because it's really easy for you to go, look what changed. You look at us, we went from, having a personal experience, because this old man over here, I went from growing up to you didn't have you had a computer on dial-up, this big bulky CRT.
I had an Atari.
Yeah. But then you all of a sudden you transition, right? There's this transition point where all of a sudden you have a computer that fits the palm of your hand, right?
Yeah.
That technological advance technically already existed because the computer was already there. But if you look at the transition, right? You dealt with before there was the home PC when you were younger.
Yes.
Then there was the home PC. All you're doing is you're seeing this small snapshot and you're going, that's impossible. No. That's been going on.
It was impossible.
No, I'm trying to say is you're going, that's wow. Look at that. You just happen to live in this space of time where stuff changed radically. They changed for you radically over the course of that time frame. Doesn't mean those things were not already on the path to do so. You're looking at a snapshot. We die pretty quickly, and humans haven't been around for that long in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, they've been around a pretty good chunk of time, and
what I'm trying to say is relatively.
I mean, yeah,
the human race is
compared
not that
to
old.
How long the Earth?
The human race is just not that old, right? So that you're experiencing it from your limited lifespan, and you go, how is that even possible?
Well, if I could go back and ask the Atlanteans what they did wrong.
Oh my God, are we going to talk about Atlanteans?
We are right now.
No. So you're telling me we're going to talk about Atlanteans?
You never know what we're going to talk about on the show.
All right, let's go. Let's wrap this up.
So I think we've covered about all we need to cover here for this episode. If you would like to continue hearing wonderful topics that we've discussed tonight and other ones that I'll prove to be true at some point, you can catch us where on all the podcast platforms.
Where?
Well, I was hoping you would chime in,
sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
You looked at me like you wanted to strangle me.
No, you can listen to us in all major podcast platforms. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcast. Listen, if you go on Apple Podcasts or you go on Spotify, I don't care which one, leave us a rating and a review. It'd be great. It helps us.
5 stars.
5
please.
stars or we don't want it.
Yeah.
Also, you can visit our website, which is no such thing as ghost.show. You can see all the episodes we do. You can see our social media posts. There's also a button on there to leave a voicemail. If you just want to say Greg's an idiot or Andy's an idiot, or if you want to give us maybe an experience that you've had, something you can prove us wrong or me wrong or prove Andy right. Or
If
prove
you
Andy
can
wrong.
give Greg a better description of the Mantis man that visited you,
Yeah, cool.
please
Then do it. Also, we're trying to run a thing right now. If you leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, shoot us an email at,
no such thing as ghostpod@gmail.com.
and we will try to enter you into a drawing to get you a No Such Thing as Ghost t-shirt, which is also you can purchase.
We have
on the
t-shirts
website.
and hoodies
T-shirt
available.
and a hoodie right now. We're working some other designs. We're trying to put together a Squonk one right now.
Because we love Squonk.
We love Squonk here. What's our TikTok, Andy?
That would be no such thing as Ghost Pod.
What's our Instagram?
No such thing as ghosts.
And our Facebook.
No such thing as Ghost Pod.
Yep. All right. Well, that's the end of the episode. We'll see y'all next time.